When children learn to take care of animals, they're learning to show their love, and they're learning to nurture. Well, when I first started sketching the animal fairy, our creative group talked a little bit about what the characteristics we wanted it to have, the idea that we wanted it to most likely fly and carry along a satchel that had magic fairy dust in it. That was something I knew I needed to include. Also the idea that the animal should be kind of cuddly and lovable, and not really look like a dog or a cat or a bear, but something unique that had similar qualities. That plays right into the whole Animal Fairy Charities goals, where they want to help animals, horses, dogs, and cats, and kind of focus on those particular animals. The legend of the Animal Fairy was going to start something new and something big for animal advocates, and the fact that the Animal Fairy was out in the world helping animals was kind of a big concept. And then the idea that he did such a great job and he needed helpers is really where everything took off. What was really fun is because of technology where it is, and we were able to work remotely. I live in Jackson, Wisconsin, and Shelley lives in Pennsylvania. And we were able to conference call and email back and forth different ideas about how we'd like to fine-tune the storyline, or different qualities we'd like the Animal Fairy to have. And it was an enjoyable exchange every time, and we're looking forward to doing more work together. I think another thing that the Animal Fairy does is by choosing the children, it instantly lets them know that they're special. And there is something special about children that have a love for animals. And you can see it when they pet them or they work with them. And it kind of validates for them that this is a unique thing and it's a gift that they have, and that they should now use that and see how they can make a difference.
When it comes to animal welfare, we as concerned citizens can make a difference by lending our voices and calling our state legislators, ask them to vote for any measure that supports animal welfare. Currently, there are two hot issues that strike a chord with Americans across the country. One of them is the slaughter of horses for human consumption. The method of horse slaughter is brutal and inhumane. In 2007, over 100,000 horses were slaughtered for the sole purpose of selling their meat overseas for human consumption. Recently, the last 3 remaining horse slaughter plants in the U.S. were shut down by state law. However, until federal legislation is passed, American horses continue to suffer a brutal death by being exported to Canada and Mexico for slaughter.
He was on a kill buyer's truck. He had been sold for meat.
Came out very promising.
He won over $245,000.
Toxic, carcinogenic.
We're talking about taking animals that have been treated with prohibited drugs and slaughtering them for food.
Going to be delicacies for some meal?
It could be very dangerous to consume this meat.
That is a huge professional ethical issue.
Yeah, people in France eating American horses that came off the track.
People who starve their horses are getting paid, being allowed to sell these animals.
I don't think anybody, a farmer, people in agriculture, horse owners, I don't think those people really realize how the cruelty is becoming so severe.
It's horrendous. They're jumping all around and screaming. And good heavens, what kind of people are we? How do we do that?
Why, if the USDA guys went in there, why didn't they shut them down?
Bureau of Land Management has created its own crisis.
They didn't want us to see what they did to the horses.
I was lied to. I was threatened.
It seems like our whole country is bound and determined to eradicate
the horses.
Our wild horses are disappearing.
More roundups, the more reason to have the slaughterhouses back.
It's like a modern-day Trail of Tears. They're being forced off of their land.
What the government has done to Indian people, and for us to turn around and slaughter horses is like cutting out our own heart.
Hi, I'm Jackie Lou Heiss-Bennett, pet reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. As Midge here can tell you, pets need help to make it through Wisconsin winters. Keep your dog leashed or in a fenced yard during the winter. Snow can make dogs lose their sense of smell, and if they get loose, they may never find their way home. Keep cats indoors in cold weather. And make sure you keep your pets away from heating vents or radiators. They can burn your pet or dry out their coats. For more pet tips, please visit my Animal Magnetism pet blog at www.jsonline.com.
Our loyal companion animals provide us with unconditional love, yet many of them end up abandoned. The lucky ones end up in shelters and rescues with a second chance for a new life. Fortunately, there are people out there willing to give their time, love, and resources to help give back to our animal companions. But the costs for food, shelter, medical, or even transportation to care for these animals can be staggering. Please log on to animalferrycharities.org or call today 262-989-0604 and give something back to those who give so much.
Animal Advocate Television is being brought to you today by MECA, Milwaukee Emergency Center for Animals, Fetch Magazine, and by Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Come to Wisconsin's best pet care facility, Animal Campus, featuring a full-service vet clinic, overnight boarding with spacious kennels, a dog daycare, and grooming salon for your dog and cat, all at one location on Loomis Road in Franklin. Check us out at animalcampus.com.
Don't forget the animals this holiday season. All proceeds from the sale of Animal Fairy Charities, pewter desk pieces, and holiday ornaments go to animals and animal shelters in need. So give yourself the gift of helping the animals this season and get a great ornament for yourself or to give to someone else who loves and cares for animals. Call or order online today at animalferrycharities.org. Greyhounds are usually associated with racing, but they also make great pets. We wanted to find out more about how to adopt one and where they typically go once their racing days are over. Wisconsin Greyhound Pets of America is an organization dedicated to helping people better understand this largely misunderstood breed and to help transition these beautiful dogs from the track to a new home.
Greyhound Pets of America Wisconsin was started about 20 years ago by a veterinarian named Dr. Rebecca McCracken. Greyhound racing was relatively new at that time in the state, and as we got racetracks, the need emerged to help find these guys homes. The organization has been in existence for about 20 years, and we adopt out approximately 125 to 150 dogs each year. Most of the dogs we get are between 2 and 4 years old as they get retired. They either just slow down, some of them have injuries, some of them were just never good enough to race to start with, so they have very short careers. We do start off with our dogs in a kennel environment. We get to know their personalities a little bit. As they get selected for adoption, we try to move them into foster homes for a week or two before they get adopted and work on basic house manners, house training. Greyhounds generally aim to please, so they train very nicely. They usually aren't very stubborn, generally speaking, so that's good, and they really adapt nicely. The first step of the adoption process is to complete an application. We also do a home visit, which helps us get to know the families better and helps us match them up with the right dogs that we have in our program at that time. This is Carrie and Thrilla, and these are two of our greyhounds that are currently available for adoption. Thrilla is only 2 years old, so he just wasn't good enough to be a very good racer. Carrie is about 4.5 years old, so she apparently did run for a couple good years, and now it's time to take a break and relax. Retired greyhounds actually make very good pets. People tend to think they're hyperactive because they were racers, but they ran roughly a 30-second race every 3 days. The joke is that they're the 45-mile-per-hour couch potato. They really just want to hang out with you. GPA is a nonprofit organization that relies heavily on donations. We also do have a few fundraisers where we raise money to do this, but on average we do lose money on every adoption, so it is a struggle, and we are fortunate to have a lot of supporters.
Every companion animal deserves a loving home, but finding that home can sometimes be difficult. That's why it's great to have places like the Elmbrook Humane Society. Their mission is to promote the human-animal bond through adoption and education, to provide shelter to homeless animals, and to prevent animal cruelty and neglect. We talked with Karen Sparapani to learn more.
Welcome to Elmbrook. My name is Karen Sparapani. I'm the executive director here. We are a small shelter located in Brookfield, Wisconsin. We handle 7 municipalities, which is the city and town of Brookfield, the village of Elm Grove, Butler, Shaniqua, Nashotah, and the town of Delafield. A lot of people don't know about us, unfortunately, but we are a very active shelter. We rescue about 2,500 animals a year. We take animals from all over southeastern Wisconsin. We do not have any geographical boundary on animals or humans that we adopt to. Our mission is to take animals that for whatever reason do not have a home, whether it's an owner surrender or strays that people don't reclaim, and find them homes. And there's no time or space limit whatsoever. As long as an animal's healthy and adoptable, it can stay here as long as it needs to. We want to make sure the animals have the best quality of life, home away from home till they find their forever family. So we do have 3 full rooms of cats. People still don't spay or neuter their cats or kittens, and let their cats go outside, and then they give those kittens to a friend, and those people in turn do not spay neuter. And we do have 1 room that is kind of a community room for cats that get along with other cats. There's many people that are looking for another cat to fill a home if they've already had multiple cats and maybe one passes away. And our small animal room tends to get busier in the summer. There's a lot of classroom pets that come in here. There's also a lot of kids that maybe raised animals from 4-H. In the case of the rabbits, usually that have had these rabbits for many years but then are going off to college and their parents are not up for the commitment. A lot of people think because rabbits are wild animals, they can just release them. And in fact, these are not wild animals, they're domestic. They look for humans to feed them and they cannot make it on their own. And a lot of these smaller animals like the guinea pigs and the rats, they do spend a little bit of time here. They don't have a real fast turnover rate, but they do have a really good quality of life, and we do actually have a lot of volunteers that love to take them out and play with them. Because the economy is so bad, we're getting hit on both ends of it, where our donations have gone down and we've had more animals coming in because people can't afford them. So we've kind of been hit hard in 2 different directions. But our volunteers and our staff, we've all been making sacrifices to make sure that no animal has to get turned away and that we can take care of them all. But we really do rely 100% on donations, and there's just never enough.
Thanks for watching today. Economic times are hard, and shelters are being inundated with pets that people feel they can no longer care for. In turn, shelters are struggling, not only with the overwhelming number of animals, but with the rising costs of food, shelter, and medical care required for their care. Now more than ever, these animals and shelters need your help. Call 262-989-0604 or visit animalferrycharities.org today.
Today's show was brought to you by MECA, Milwaukee Emergency Center for Animals, Fetch Magazine, and by Bark and Scratch Outpost.